Hello, my lovely people. So, we are continuing with our series of Healing the Inner Child, part 4. Yeah, part 4. Um, Many times you ask yourself, why did God allow me to go through what I went through? Why is it that some people's lives are easy? Why is it that some people's lives, some children just had a smooth life, loving parents? They had everything that they needed. My sister and my brother, do not blame yourself. You have to understand in life, everybody's journey is different. You know, we were called for different purposes in life. We were called for different purposes in life. And some of you people carry very heavy assignments. And with heavy assignments comes heavy, maybe tribulations. I can call tribulations. With heavy assignments come with heavy lessons, heavy trials and tribulations. God has a purpose for your life, and nothing in this life that happens for no reason, because you are called here for a purpose. You understand? And I said this in my previous video, that one of the things that you should do is to forgive. One of the most important things is to do is to forgive. The second thing I want to talk about is that, different families have different, let's talk about the spiritual side, different altars. You understand? These are for children maybe who were molested or sexually abused. There are some families that usually have an altar maybe of incest. This is something that has been going on from generation to generation, and maybe you went through that. It's true. Maybe you are abused, molested, or you are tortured and tormented by a relative, and you are the one that God has called to break that cycle. So it's very important for you to understand that first, instead of wallowing in pity, bitterness, and anger. That will not help you, because many of us who have been called for higher purpose usually you have to go through what God has called you to heal, what God has called you to do, and God has a way of healing, renewing, and transforming your life. You understand what I'm saying? So instead of maybe staying in bitterness and anger and comparing yourself to other children or other adults that have their life very smooth, focus on forgiving them, the ones that did anything bad to you, and focus on building your future now. Focus on building your future now. It's very important. Apart from praying and meditating and all that, you can start by now avoiding negative content that does not uplift you, content that does not help you. That is another thing that you should totally avoid. The internet has a way of giving us content that makes us feel good, entertainment. But if you come from a very traumatic childhood, you have to be very intentional about your life. You have to be very, very intentional about your life, because if you came from such trauma and such pain, it means that God has a purpose for your life. You have to start living positively. You have to surround yourself with positive people. You have to listen and watch positive content. Like this platform here is a very positive content that will uplift you. You have to now stop. Maybe if you are going to clubs, drinking, you cannot stop just like that. You do it slowly by slowly. You stop drinking. You stop drinking. Stop being with negative friends. Things like that. You have to stop. Maybe going out in the night, in the disco and all that. All the negativity, everything that triggers the emotions of your childhood, you have to stop. You have to start now relearning and reprogramming your life, which is not a walk in the park. Reprogramming and relearning is not a walk in the park, my sisters and my brothers, because now you have to erase every childhood programming that was given to you and now reprogram your life according to God's word, according to God's pace. Listen, take time with yourself. Have time with God. Speak to God. Pray, meditate, exercise, eat well. It does not matter whether you have a lot of money or few money. eat well, meditate, exercise, have friends, listen to content that will uplift you and build you. That is the way you start your healing journey. That is very, very important. And another thing is that this harboring of negative emotions like bitterness, anger, grudges usually opens a door for the devil to mess with your mind. You know, you have to now start listening to content that will give you positivity, that will reprogram your mind to positivity. You understand? So my sisters and my brothers, kindly subscribe, like, share, tell me what you think about the video.